You're listening to Our Space with Matt Batiste.
You know when you hear a song and you go, whoa, who is this? What is this? I want to hear more. Today's guest is the latest band to do that for me. We have Stoph from Carpool joining me. Thanks so much for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. This is sick.
I heard your music and I was like, I need to get these guys on the show. More people need to hear about them because you guys are absolutely killing it right now. So I'm super excited that you're here.
Thank you so much. This is really, really cool. I've always wanted to do something like this, so this is tight.
Is this your first podcast?
All right. Here's a little context for you. I've done one podcast prior to this, and it was a live in-person podcast where they had us play Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
Before I didn't know anything about it. And they didn't ask me a single question, and I played Dungeons and Dragons for 5 hours, and it wasn't fun.
Did you say it wasn't fun?
No, I didn't like it.
I've never played Dungeons and Dragons either, but that is absolutely hilarious. They didn't ask you one question. They were just like, yeah, screw it. He's in a band. Let's get him to play Dungeons and Dragons.
On some real shit, they were my friends, but at the same time, like, you can ask one question. Like, what's up?
That is absolutely hilarious. I do want to get to know you a little bit more as we kind of start the show. We're definitely going to get into some questions with the music, but before we chat music, are you a Buffalo Bills fan? Because looking at some of your videos, I've been catching a little bit of hints of the Bills in a few of your music videos.
Born and raised, man. Come on. Born and raised, diehard Bills Mafia right here. I've always said there's a few things in my life I care about. It's music, my friends and family, my girlfriend, and the Buffalo Bills. That's it.
Are you throwing anybody through tables at games? Are you a part of the Bills Mafia, like the real Bills Mafia?
I broke my hand going through a table before.
No way. You've done it. You've even gone through the table. That's the extent of it.
You got to set that on fire and jump right through.
Did you do the fire too?
You got to. You got to have like 15 Labatt Blue lights in you first, though. Like 15 minimum.
Okay, dude, I'm telling you right now, because Buffalo's like a 2-hour drive for me. That's how you know I'm Canadian. I measure distance and time. I was supposed to go to a Bills game this past year in November, but I'm coming to a Bills game and we're tailgating together.
Say less. We're going after it.
We're absolutely. I think also, so I'm actually a diehard 49ers fan. Okay. And because Buffalo's close, Buffalo is always sort of like mine and my family's like AFC team, because we like going there into games and we still kind of cheer on Buffalo. But I think the Niners are playing in Buffalo this year. I'm going to come for that game. We're getting together and we're tailgating.
Say less, dude.
We'll both go through a table together.
I'm fucking stoked. Nobody tailgates like Buffalo. It's fucking crazy. It's a good time.
It's a totally different world. So I love that. I was like picking up on that. And because I know you guys are from New York and it's always sort of like a coin flip. Are you going to be cheering for the Bills? Are you going to be cheering for the Giants or cheering for the Jets, right? I feel like the Bills are the team to cheer for.
Those are Jersey teams in our eyes. You know what I mean? There's only one New York State team. That's the Buffalo Bills. The rest are just New York Jets. They're from Jersey.
The New Jersey Giants and Jets. Buffalo's the real deal.
That's not Jersey slander, because I love New Jersey, but they're Jersey football teams. There's only one New York football team, and that's the Bills Mafia, baby. Come on. I'm passionate about it.
I'm telling you, I don't think there's many fans that are as passionate as the Buffalo Bills fans.
We're a different breed.
Absolutely. Another question to get to know you a little bit. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh, God. Okay, I feel like when you get asked this question, a lot of the time people just off the cuff are like, I would want to be able to fly. Like, that's always like people's first one. I'm like deathly afraid of heights. So I would say I feel like controlling time would be cool. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you fuck something up and you're like, all right, hold up. Bring it back like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, oh
yeah, absolutely. Fix your mistakes.
Yeah, fix your mistakes, or maybe like take a trip to the past, see some cool shit.
For me, I'd always prefer speed, because I'd like to be able to, still live in the Toronto area, but then also in the winter, sometimes you just want to fuck off and go to the beach and just like quickly speed down to, Florida or something like that.
Yeah, those Lake Ontario winters. Oh my God.
They hit.
You get it. We're on the other side. So like,
Yeah, exactly. I feel like being close to Buffalo, a lot of the times you guys get it harder than we do sometimes.
You know what? I will say, because I live in New York City now, so there's like this like whole thing where it's like everyone that I talk to that finds out that I'm from like Western New York, like by Canada type area, Rochester, they're like, oh my God, like the winters must be fucking brutal for you guys. And I'm like, they are, but you're not like outside like you are like in New York City. Like you can't just, you have to walk everywhere you go here. So you're fucking cold. But in Rochester, Buffalo, like you're in the car, you're in a nice warm house. You know,
especially if you're lucky enough to have a remote starter, you know, you click that by the window and then you go into a nice warm car.
Biggest game changer on earth.
I know a big thing for me was being able to park in a garage. I'm like, now that I've had this luxury for the last little while, I can never go another winter without a garage.
Garages, dude. You're speaking my language right now. I'm loving this. I'm literally loving this.
All right. You are stranded on a deserted island. You only have 3 albums. What are the albums?
Radiohead, Kid A, Third Eye Blind, self-titled. Views by Drake.
No way. And you're going with the Toronto guy too. I'm loving this conversation. Why each of those?
Oh God. Radiohead's my favorite band. And I feel like if I had to pick, this is tough. If I had to pick one album, it would probably be Kid A. Self-titled Third Eye Blind album is, I could listen to that endlessly and just, it doesn't get worn out for me. I feel like if you listen to something repeatedly over and over again, you're like, all right, I get it. And that's just like one album. They call it lightning in a bottle with that one. It's every single song is a banger. And then my toxic trait is that I just fucking love Drake. I can put a Drake clip to any situation you ever want, man. I'll tell you.
I love that. I love that so much. So who are the top 5 most important artists or bands to Carpool as a band in terms of the music that you guys write?
In terms of the music that we write, off the top of my head, and just speaking for myself, I would say Drug Church, Prince Daddy,
ooh, love them.
Pup, Roswell Kid, Third Eye Blind.
Those are solid choices. See, this is why I knew that this is why I think I love Carpool so much, right? Like you're speaking my language here. All of these bands, I'm like, this is so great. I love the Pup influence in there too. Once again, going back to the Toronto boys in there. Do you have a favorite song? Sorry, go ahead.
I feel like we rep Canada like harder. Like we rep Rochester really like over everything, but we all wish we were Canadian. Like we all
it's being so close to the border, man. I feel like there's so many people that live so close from the, like on the Canada side of the border, that they relate a lot with the Americans, and the Americans relate a lot to the Canadians being along that border, right?
Exactly. Plus like going up to Toronto and stuff when I was like, I don't know, like a teenager and everything, and like 18, like coming up and doing the whole thing. Like, dude, Toronto, just I just have a very special place in my heart for Canada and Toronto in general. Like, this is very cool.
I even noticed actually a few of your comments, because on your tour with Youth Fountain, which we're going to get into a little bit coming up as well, but I noticed that you have some other Canadian dates on there besides just Toronto. And I feel like that's a lot of criticism that Canadians give a lot of bands when coming through on their North America tour. It's always like, you're calling it a North America tour because it's just the US and Toronto. And a lot of people, you know, like Edmonton are like, what the hell? We're always forgotten about. It's very much a Canadian complex. Like all of Canada hates Toronto because Toronto gets everything and the rest of Canada gets ignored.
I feel like Toronto.
So I noticed a few. Yeah, exactly. And then Edmonton and Calgary are like, what the fuck?
What about us?
Yeah. But I believe you're going to Edmonton on this tour, correct?
Let me check. I think so, honestly. I know, so Youth Fountain is Canadian. They're from either Vancouver or Toronto. Let's see.
That's also probably why this tour is going through other parts of Canada because of that.
The only Canadian date that we're on is the Toronto one. So
that's the only one you guys are on. Okay. So once again, Edmonton missing out. You got to keep a note of that for when you go on your headline tour, because I'm sure that's going to happen soon or eventually, you know?
Here's the thing too. I would love to just do a straight up Canada tour. Like, fuck the US for a minute. Let's just rock with Canada and get weird with it, you know?
And you know what the cool thing Do it in the middle of winter, man. I don't recommend that, especially when you start getting up to the northern parts. You're going to have those van breakdowns and be like, there is nothing for miles on miles on miles to get out of here. What do we do? Especially through the winter, right? It's tough. But I'm sure a lot of Canadians would absolutely love that. So I'm not going to discourage you from doing that. I'm going to have all my Canadian listeners being like, dude, what the heck? Why are you telling him about our brutal winter up in like Winnipeg?
I want to do it.
I think you should, man. I think you should. When it comes to covers, I noticed the Soak Up the Sun cover. That video has to be like the greatest video of all time. I have no idea how it's, I think, under 5,000 views on YouTube. Dude. Like, how did that come to be?
Oh my God. I don't know. I feel like that song and that video, you're right. I feel like it should have popped a little, but Soak Up the Sun, we had just dropped Erotic Nightmare Summer, and it was during COVID, so we couldn't tour, we couldn't play shows, this, that, and the other. I felt like kind of stuck. I was like, fuck it. Like, I was working at a pharmacy at the time, like filling up prescriptions. And one of the songs on the radio that would play all the time, the only one that I liked would be Soak Up the Sun. I would get so hyped. It would come on like 3 times a day. It's a long song too. It's like 5 minutes long. So it was tight. It would be like a nice break.
I didn't even realize it was that long until I saw your video and I was watching it and I was like, wait, this is a 5-minute video. Is it just like animations or the music? Like, did they do something to stretch it out? I'm like, no, this is a 5-minute song.
It's really just that long. Yeah. And when you're recording it, you're like, holy shit, what did I get myself into? And it's a hard song to sing, dude. Sheryl Crow's got pipes. Like, she's got a voice and a half. Like, that was tough to sing. And the video was so much fucking fun to make, dude. Like, we made that in my mom's attic with Kevin Flanagan, who does like all of our videos, and then our buddy from a band in Rochester called California Cousins. He like directed it with him, and we just picked like all of our favorite YouTube videos, and we were like, all right, let's put us like playing Buffalo Bill Stadium. Let's put us with like salad fingers. Let's be I don't know. It was just fucking. It was like a blast. My mom was.
You got like King of the Hill in there. It was great. I was like dying of laughter looking for all of the different references, which is also why I was like, how did this not go viral, especially through the pandemic? Because it was posted in 2020 throughout the pandemic when everybody was like chronically online. There was nothing else to do. I'm like, this was hitting all of the notes. It was hitting all of it was hitting the formula, It was a pop song being covered by a heavier band. It was fun as hell. It hit every single like internet reference, every single TV show. It was a solid cover. I was like, how is this not at 1.2 million views right now on YouTube?
You know what? Thank you for saying that, because I feel like you're just like speaking to my head right now. Like, dude, for real. Like, I'm with you. I feel like we had a grand slam with that one. It just went under the radar. But
sometimes that's what happens. And then the videos that you put like no effort into just go viral and you're like, what the heck, really? It took me 2 seconds. And it's just like, hey guys, what's up? And then all of a sudden it's like 1.2 million views, but you put all that work and time into something where you're like, this is actually great. People are going to love this. And it just...
That's the way it is. The streaming era.
Well, if you're listening right now, you need to go and check out this video. Let's try to get it. Let's try to get it to 1 million. Like, share it with all of your friends. It deserves to be viral. Maybe we can get it viral years after it was actually posted. Sometimes that happens too. It's the best music video I think I've seen on YouTube in a very long time. So go and search that up.
And my mom's in it.
And your mom's in it. I love that. All right, now on to the music and your new album, because I'm really excited about it. You guys gave me early access to listen to it, which I'm really grateful for. I purposely commuted yesterday and didn't carpool with anyone because I wanted to listen to the album. And it was just on repeat all day long and absolutely no skips. And then I also realized you guys released a single for Car yesterday, the day that I got the album. And that was the song that got my attention. And I was like, what is this one? And I was like, oh, it's called Car. And then I'm on Instagram and you guys are like, yeah, we're releasing a new song. It's the heavy one. And I'm like, it's Car. I love it. It's such a great song. And the album is good. Honestly, I think this is going to be a contender for one of my top albums, if not the top. It is so far my favorite album of the year. So I'm really excited for people to hear this one. This podcast is going to come out on the same day that the album comes out. So if you're listening to this podcast right now, it's already out. So finish up this interview, go listen to that album. I do want to know, though, I want you to describe Carpool's music for those people that may be listening to the podcast and being introduced to you for the first time ever. How would you describe Carpool's music to someone that's never heard it before?
I would ask you a series of questions. I would say, do you like your job? I would say, do you like going to work every day? Do you like school? Are you getting good grades? Or do you just want to fucking like fuck off and have some fucking fun for a minute? Like forget about it all and just be chaotic and like cathartic at the same time and just like let loose. Like it's supposed to be an outlet for people to just smile. And like it's like heavier content, right? But it's like juxtaposed, so it's like fun and like light and like happy, but it is like cathartic and like heavier. So I would describe it as, do you like to have fun? I don't know what genre we are really. I feel like we're like punk, emo, hardcore, pop, alternative.
I think that's why when I first heard you guys, I was like, oh, who is this? Because I typically am drawn towards more of those bands that blend the lines of genre a lot more than the bands that fit into a box. And I don't feel like Carpool really fits into a box. Like you said, I think you guys, from a listener perspective, are a fun band that's also chaotic and also emotional, but you're not quite fully emo, you're not quite fully pop punk. It's just sort of like that blend between it all. And I can even hear, when you said Radiohead, I can kind of even hear those like little instances of Radiohead in there too, which is really cool.
You've been making me blush this whole time, man. Like, come on, this is great. This is tight.
Easiest interview. I'm trying to set the bar here, all right? We had the Dungeons & Dragons bar. We're setting the bar up higher. Any other interview needs to be just like this.
It's standard now.
But I do want to know, with the new album, what's the meaning behind My Life in Subtitles, the name of your new album?
So the meaning behind the title is the way that the album is put together. I think of it in 3 acts. You got the first act, which is like after the opening track, it's like right in your face, the catchy, the hooky songs. You got the middle act, which is like kind of like the more subdued, more gentle moments. And then you have the closing third act, which is back to loud and like abrasive and kind of chaotic. I looked at it as every single release that we've ever put out, I'm very personable in my lyrics and I'm very wordy. And if you listen to any of the songs, you know exactly what's going on pretty much. And you can apply it to your own life because there's double entendres, but it is very personable. And I was talking to somebody once and they quoted a lyric to me of my own music. And I was like, holy shit, it's kind of like my life is literally in subtitles. You can go back to any album and read every single line, every single lyric of my life. So I was like, what if we just made it so that it was kind of like a TV show or like a movie where it was like in acts, and we tell like this story that could be interpreted any way you want. Like you could take it and you could put it to any situation that you feel it fits or applies to. But for me personally, it has a very like structured and like personal meaning, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. It's not really a concept album, but it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I totally see it. I totally see, and going through the album, and when our listeners and viewers go and watch us or listen to this episode and then go and listen to your album, I think that now that you've pointed that out, it'll be very easy to sort of pick up, like you said, that catchy sort of way to start out the album, and then that nice middle and the end. I think the most notable songs on the album that really stuck out, I mean, for me, when I just heard "Can We Just Get High," like that was, I was like, this is the hit single from the album. Like, I don't know how they're going to possibly top this. Like, this is going to be their best single, right? So that, I think that's what really made me excited to hear the album. And then as I was kind of going through it, Crocodile Tears and Kid Icarus were the ones that, as I was listening to it, I pulled out my phone and I was like, oh, okay, I need to know what the name of this song is, because this one, you know, really big vibe. And then when I heard Car, that really stuck out to me because that was like the really angsty, heavier stuff that you did. And I was curious how you feel about doing those heavier songs, just because there really is only one song on the album that is like Car, that is that heavy. do you really like sort of blending into that heavier style? Do you feel like that's something that Carpool will continue to do going forward?
Oh God, that's a great question. The way that song came about was Tommy had written the guitar and was like, what would you want to do with this? And I was like, I have this poem I wrote a couple of years ago. I feel like if I screamed it, it would be nuts. Like it would go crazy. And a big thing with us too is, like, especially live, I do yell a little bit more, and I do like the little like throat thing a little bit more. And sometimes people will be like, oh, like they're like a screamo band. And to that, I'm like, well, screamo's fucking, it's like sick. So that's a compliment. But also we're clearly not a screamo band. So I was like, all right, you know what? If they want to hear us get heavy, like let's give it to them. And I don't know, we grew up with heavy music. We all love hardcore metal, like screamo. The dude who we recorded the album with, Jay Zubricki, he worked with Every Time I Die from Buffalo, and they're one of our favorite bands too. They're like huge for me personally, and it was just like a big influence. And all of it just like seemed to come together, and I was like, let's just make a fucking heavy ass track and just go all in and just be ruthless, like, because the album isn't confined to one genre, and I don't think we are either. And I think that's what's so cool too, is that we just write and do what we want to do. Like, we're gonna just have fun with it no matter what. So yeah, I don't know. I think going forward, you can definitely expect some more of that, but I wouldn't say that every release is going to be all of that. It's not going to be all encompassing. It's just going to a sprinkle here and there.
Yeah, I love it because it kind of reminds me of how like every band feels like they need to have that one slow song on the album to kind of like even it all out. And this is like your slow song, but it's the opposite because it's like the heavy song. So that's really cool.
That one was a lot of fun. That one's one of my favorite ones to like play live too. We've done that one on a couple tours, and it just gets rowdy.
Yeah, people definitely will get hyped for that one. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one live. I feel like that one will be the one that the crowd really gets moving for.
Yeah.
And well, speaking of that, and you saying that that's one of your favorite songs to play live, I know it may be like asking you to pick a favorite kid, but do you have a favorite song on the album?
Favorite song on the album? I'd say it's a tie. Either Done Paying Taxes or Tom York New City.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Those ones just mean a lot to me. Done Paying Taxes is like, that one's like really personal. That one's kind of like, that one is like a baby to me. Like that one's like a little baby.
That one's your Life in Subtitles.
Yeah, that one is. That one's intimate.
Is there a reason why you didn't put that one release that one as a single?
I feel like sometimes I like to have, especially that one is more of like, I wouldn't even call it a deep cut, but I feel like sometimes I like to have certain songs be on the album so that the people who actually like the band are actual fans that do listen to the album. They like get to enjoy it more than it's just like a one-off single, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sort of makes it a little bit more special.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, you have the singles to kind of tease the album, then you go to the album, and a lot of the times too, I feel like you listen to an album because you loved the singles, and then you find your new favorite song, and it's the deeper cut, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, that's exciting. And then, do you have a favorite song or a song that you're looking forward to playing live most with this new Youth Fountain tour? It's coming up in May. You know, you've got the new album. It's going to be starting after the album's out. It'll be out for a while. Like, are you really hyped to see the crowd react to a certain song?
Dude, can't we just get high? I feel like that one's going to be so fun to play live. Like, even for the people that don't know it, I feel like what's so fun about that track is you can know the chorus immediately. Like, it's like a country pop song. The second you hear it, you know the chorus, and like, you're not going to forget it. And I feel like people like getting into it and like bopping, like, love me. Like, it'll be cool. It'll be fun.
Yeah. So you haven't played that one live yet?
We played it live one time, and it was at the music video that we filmed for that, actually. I had a going away party at my house that Tommy now lives at, and we filmed the whole thing, and we like played a show on the farm and like had a big fire, dirt bikes, like lasers. It was it was kind of badass. That's the only time I ever played it, and it was a good time. It was really cool. It was cool.
I feel like that's going to be one that will get that response that you're looking for. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that, and really hope that you get that response, because it's definitely a bop. Like you said, like people are going to hear that. That's one where even if you don't know the song, people are going to be jumping up and down for, like, that'll get the crowd into it for sure. I wanted to know if there's a story with the imagery in the album cover, which if you're listening and you haven't seen, it's a church on fire.
Oh, so that is for Car. That's
the Car one.
Yeah. The album cover is the Kodak building.
Yes, that's right. Sorry, that was also in the package. My bad. Yeah. I thought I saw the one on fire, and I was like, oh wait, that's it, because I knew they kind of looked a little bit similar when I was looking at the package.
So they both are made by my girlfriend, and what's funny about the actual album artwork is the original photo is from an Instagram account called Accidentally Wes Anderson, and I screenshotted it and I sent it to her, and I was like, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you make us a flyer for like a Rochester show out of this? And she called me and she was like, why would you make this a flyer? Why wouldn't you make this an album cover? Like, this is so sick. I was like, oh my God, you're so right. Like, that's brilliant. I was like, but I don't know if I could just take like this random Instagram account's like photo.
There might be some copyright issues there.
And she was like, just hit them up, see if they like answer. So I DM'd, this account has like 1 million something followers. Like, it's like a big account. And I DM'd them. This person immediately responds like, hey, Stoph, great to hear from you. Feel free to use the picture. Just send us a vinyl. Good luck with everything and congrats. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And so shout out Accidentally Wes Anderson. Shout out my girlfriend. Like, it all just, Hallie Cantor. It all just worked out great.
That is sweet. I love when things just fall into place. So did the person who runs the page know about Carpool already? Like, they knew about you guys, or were they just sort of introduced and they were just really cool about it?
I hit them up off my personal Instagram. I didn't even hit them up off the band one. I was like, hey, I'm in a band and we just signed to a label. I'd really like to use this picture as the album cover. And they're like, sounds good.
That's so sweet. They weren't like, yeah, you got to pay us like 10 grand to use this picture or anything like that. They're just like, take it.
It was a blessing.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
That is amazing. Yeah. I love to hear that. I love when things just fall into place.
Exactly. And then for the Car single art, I just told her, I was like, I just want a church to be on fire. If you could just like get some pictures and Photoshop it. And she's like, say less. I just crushed it. The other 3 singles were done by Tommy and his girlfriend Bridget. She's a photographer, and those are all sick too. Like, the Can We Just Get High one is like so like erotic and like a little dirty and like provocative, you know? It's like, I don't know, frivolous. And then even
what's it called? No news is No news is good news. Bad news. No news. Good news. Yeah. That's it. I love the sort of, it almost looked like a kidnapped note of headlines.
That was Tommy. That's a funny story too. So he moved into the house that I moved out of when I moved to New York, and we were on a tour and we played Rochester. So we stayed in Rochester, obviously. And I stayed at his house. And I'm up in his room, and he's got this collage on the ground. And I was like, yo, what is this? This is fucking sweet. He was like, oh, I've just been like trying to mess around, like do some art. I was like, yo, make this the single cover. Like, what are you doing? This is awesome. So it's just cool. It's cool being surrounded by so many creative people that are like so artistic. Cause like, I wish I could draw or do any of that kind of stuff. Like, I can see it in my head, but I can't translate it to like paper. And like, they're like so good at like all the technology and all the art aspects of everything. It's cool.
It's cool to surround yourself with creative people like that keep you inspired as well. I think that's very important, especially as someone like yourself who's a musician.
Oh yeah, dude. The whole team, like Tori, Tommy, Alec, Danny, Trevor, Dan Cooper, Phil, Jay, Hallie, Bridget, the whole team is just, I just gotta shout them all out. I love my squad.
They are great. We are coming towards the end. I do want to know if you wanted to shout out any of your favorite up-and-coming artists right now. A big, important part of this podcast is supporting the scene, helping grow it, and getting more exposure for bands like yourself. And I wanted to know if you have any other bands that you have been listening to right now that you think deserve some extra love.
Dude. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I wanted to do it where it was like just one mention, and then everyone was like, I'm not giving you one mention, I'm giving you a bunch. I'm like, all right, this is your chance to give all of the shout outs. You want to give 20 of them, give 20 of them, and everybody needs to go and check out all of these bands. So give me your list of all the up and coming bands that you're loving right now.
Ogbert the Nerd, Summer Brews, World's Greatest Dad, Saturdays at Your Place, Riley, Common Sage, Stay Inside, Del Paxton, Spaced, Thank You, I'm Sorry, Glazed, See-Through Person, Red Sun. Dude, there's so many.
You're taking the 20 literally.
I'm trying to just rattle them all off right now. No, I'm blanking.
I love it.
Echo, Equipment.
There's so many of them. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, it's so important that we share this love because there's so many amazing bands killing it right now that deserve to be doing this full time. And I think a lot of bands, people don't even realize that they're leaving tour, going home, working full-time jobs, and the music isn't fully paying their bills when so many people are writing great songs where it should be. So spreading that love and doing that, and especially the state of the scene right now with everything and all of these bands, like it should be a lot bigger than it is. So I love spreading that word, and I love to see the excitement in your eyes when you get to like name off your friends' bands or your favorite bands, and that's really, really exciting to me. So definitely go and check out Stoph's favorite bands right now, up and coming bands. Anything else that you have going on that we maybe didn't get to mention?
Yeah. So we got some tours coming up. We're going out with Free Throw, Super American, and Charmer, March 21st to April 7th, and then the Youth Fountain one. And then we got some more tours coming up that we're going to announce soon. But the only thing I want to say is shout out Rochester, New York. Shout out the Bug Jar. Best city on earth, Don't sleep on it. Most beautiful, most friendly, most lively city on earth. And Rochester's going to be number one soon, I'm telling you.
I guess shout out to Josh Allen too.
Oh, Buffalo Bills, yeah.
Yeah. Stoph, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to chat with me today.
Dude, thanks so much for having me on, cousin. I appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to Our Space with Matt Batiste. If you enjoyed yourself, please support the show by subscribing and leaving a review.